There we go. All right. So on the screen, you'll probably see what I've been getting up to in third term more specifically. But I'll just give you a little rundown of what I've done over the year and take your questions. So as a VP Services, I was expected to take the lead on Freshers Week in terms of looking after the reps. That's what I was responsible for, like taking the lead on the operational tasks. That involved like restructuring of their training, allocation of reps into their teams, organisations of the fun day on the Sunday, morning and evening meetings, and also organisation of the Freshers Awards following that week. After Freshers Week, I was responsible for chairing chairing two representational committees. Those were the Halls Assembly and also the Events Committee as well. And what we aim to do there is encourage feedback on life within halls, but also life within here as well, in terms of the entertainment committee. So the matters that came up in the events, we asked them to give us feedback on Gravel last year so we can make it better for you this year. What do you guys think of the Gravel lineup for this year? Yay, yay? Hands up for a yes or hands down for a no? Yeah, wicked. So we've got some more yeses and nos there, which is good. We also collected feedback on the last day of term, as we're looking to make that bigger and better every time. And also collating feedback on climax and also the other nights that we put on. So the comedy nights, the quizzes, and all those kinds of things to ensure that we're keeping those current and making those as good as possible. In terms of Halls Assembly, we also gave feedback on the structure in itself, as some of the reps felt like it needed to be changed as it wasn't as easy to engage with as we first assumed. So we're looking at changing that now. We're also looking to give all reps a bigger role in Freshers Week so that we're instilling that in the culture straight away, so that when the students come in their first year, they're aware of what all reps do and more likely to engage with them. So those plans were they approved in the exec meeting this morning? On the way. So that's an ongoing process. More recently, I've been in charge of the Freshers Crew application process. So the deadline of when it was, the interviews that took place, the grading of the people within the interviews, and I've also put together the spreadsheet now to then release in 2 or so weeks to let you guys know who's been successful and who hasn't been successful. Now, other things that I've been up to this year, apart from things that I've been mandated to do, so things that I kind of pledged to do on my manifesto. So I've put on a design competition, I've put on a what drink would you like to see in your SU campaign as well, a DJ competition, secret streetwear showcase in this space here, which gave the chance to students that are currently here and also students that have recently left the chance to kind of promote their businesses that they've started since being at Trevor, since leaving, and then also put on the Global Youth Football Tournament as well. And that's me. Any questions?
James, any questions for James? See that number back. I was just wondering if you could provide any sort of insight as to approximately how much update has been the network crew for next year. Because obviously there's a lot of work going on with the university in terms of welcome week activities for some of the less satisfied groups from this year's welcome week. So I was wondering if there's been a significant number of applications for those types.
In terms of uptake from the interviews that we've got currently, I've looked through my spreadsheet. Can I disclose something? Okay, so far I've approved 20 network reps, and I've still got other interview slots to go through, so I reckon we'll probably get to about 30 or 40.
Sorry, Jess. I'd say because it comes to me and Josh, so we know more about the network reps, and we'd say that there was a lot more applicants this year for it than there has been in the past.
Yeah, so just to reiterate, 20 have been approved as of yet, and I've still got more to go through, so more to approve. Okay? Any more questions?
Thank you for that question. Any more questions for chairs? See that over there at the front.
How do you think your speaker event went? And I just wonder is there any plans to roll that out inside next year?
Okay, so in terms of the speaker event, I think it was really good. We had Topshop and Doc Martin come down, so those were two big companies that you guys probably are aware of. But as well as that, we also had 8 different independent brands made up of students that have recently or are currently students here. So that was a success. I'd say the success of the event could have been better if I marketed it better. So next year it's definitely something that I'll be passing over to Tilly, who's in the crowd over there, to take on and hopefully make a lot bigger and better, as the people that attended were very happy with it and want to see it grow. Okay?
Thank you. Any more questions for chairs? Oh, yeah, at the back.
A lot of your events have been catered to like undergraduates, like younger people. What about postgrads? What about postgrads? Like,
Well, in terms of the events that I've put on, I wouldn't say they were undergrad specific. They're inclusive of everyone. If they're interested in what I'm putting on, then they're welcome to come down. As the VP services, I'm here to serve what you guys want. So if I was approached by a postgrad student with a good idea to implement and use this space, utilize this space, and I'd be more than willing to go forward and do that. I can tell you that one of the teams in the Bowlby football tournament I put on were filled with postgrad students. So there you go, inclusive of everyone.
Happy with that response then? Okay, yeah. Okay, unless there's any more further questions for chairs, then we'll say thank you to chairs. Next up is Josh Elway, your VP Community. We've not got very long to go, guys, just so you know. Hopefully you just get a drink or go to the toilet. Cool. We'll try and speed this up a little bit, maybe. Sorry. Yeah.
So what you see on the state of on the screen is actually what I've been working on in this third term. Just to give you a quick overview of what I've been doing over the whole year. As this is the annual meeting, we start by the improvements I make to the community. I've worked with the halls reps and course reps this year to sort out the number 4 buses from NCT. If those of you who don't know, buses that go to Bridgford have often been missing students in West Bridgford. By working with NCT, we managed to put on more buses at peak times and off-peak times so the students get to their lectures on time. Also with the buses, we've been working with the Halls, Meridians and the Maltings, who used to have a free bus service, which we did get a few complaints about. We've now changed that back to a free NCT bus pass, and the students are really quite happy with that, so I'm glad that that's happened this year. It's been a few years coming. I've been working with the union, the staff, with Marcus and the other officers on the general election this year. We've had a massive push for a non-student manifesto. We've got a big event sorted out here in correlation with the staff and Marcus and that to have the non-student manifesto launch here. For the general election, we got the politicians to sign up to that manifesto, and some of those have been elected. So we can now hold these politicians to account. Actually, if they don't do what we say, we can say, well, you did sign up to our manifesto, and you were there for that, so that's brilliant. On the welfare front, one of the big wins that we have this year, in line with our LGBT officer, which is just over there, is the gender neutral toilet provision. For those of you who don't know, we're going to be getting a set of single stool toilets which just have the red toilet on. They're going to be gender neutral, so anybody on campus, regardless of any gender that they believe that they correct themselves to, can use the toilets in a safe environment, and feedback from that hope has been positive. We've spoken earlier about nightline cards being on the back of student cards. Those are going to be on the next batch of student cards. So when all the new students come in, they will automatically have the nightline printed on the back of the student cards so that they carry support with them wherever they go.
Finally, in relation to welfare, housing this year has been a big priority for students. So we worked with the Information Advice Service here at the UU to put on the Don't Let Yet campaign. This has helped to educate students about their housing rights, about what they can expect in relation to housing. We've also helped a lot of students who have had issues with their landlords, with their housing, with their deposits, and we've even represented a few of those students in sort of higher places, as it were. That's brilliant. On top of that, I've been supporting any students that come to see me with issues personally, and hopefully they feel a lot better about the situations that they found themselves in. In relation to volunteering, we have a completely new rebranded volunteering system at NTSU this year. We're working with a brand new volunteering coordinator to create a new project. This is called Nottingham Project, funnily enough. A brand new system that was set up by myself and volunteering coordinator to make sure that volunteering at NTSU is student run. We do work with the NTU volunteering guys, but we also manage to stay separate so that universities have the best, most flexible volunteering opportunities that possible. In terms of international volunteering, we have been working with Child Reach for their Big Build project. Students here at the union have been going around the union doing lots of different projects, raising a lot of money so they can go and volunteer overseas in third world countries. They're going to be building schools in places like Nepal, which is going to be wonderful. That's the main basis of volunteering this year. And then finally, in term 3, I've been working on lab culture. Nationally, lab culture is a very big issue for cycling in labs. We found out through a survey that I carried out, which had over 700 responses, that lab culture is actually both men and women are part of lab culture here at NTU, for those who say that they are part of it. That sport definitely identify with that. Some society members do as well. And a couple of quick stats for you. 85% of the harassment that is found on campus through these responses is not reported, which is a horrendous statistic. About 60% of the harassment that we see on campus is sexual harassment, which is again terrible. And I will be writing this report in detail to be presented to you guys to put online. I'm also going to be working in reaction to this on compulsory consent education for all the new freshers group who are coming over the summer, and also the self-defense classes for any student that wishes to take them, starting hopefully with freshers week, depending on the new VP community and how she feels about it. Mental health. Mental health, as you may know if you've been to a union meeting before, is one of my biggest things this year. Many students came to me with issues around mental health, certainly around wait periods and their access to mental health. I'm quite happy to say that I presented 2 reports to the university's executive team. They have been working with me and student support services over the road, so the university has their support service we have on here. I've been working with them, and I'm quite happy to say that there is a new system in place for the counselling service, but for mental health as a whole, actually, where all the students go through one big, basically, front door, a virtual front door. They are then pushed out to different mental health services, including the counselling service, which means we've eliminated the waiting lists for a first point of contact. So students, as soon as they identify that they need help, they're going to get help, they're going to be given a date of when they can first access a counsellor, and they're supported all the way up until that point, which is a massive change from where we've come to from before. I'm absolutely jumping the door. It's absolutely brilliant. Finally, my final point is Take 5. As you know, exams are currently going on. I've been helping our students who have been stressed with their exams. We've currently reached just over 600 students directly by handing out free water in the SU, giving out free bananas, putting on events. We had a driving simulator in the SU about 2 weeks ago. I'm hoping to move that over to Clifton and maybe do some other similar things like that. Hopefully, if I can pull it off, an inflatable just outside, this is time to give students a quick 5 minutes out away from their work and chill out a bit. So hopefully this will help students to feel less stressed and also to look at the comforting messages that we've got going down the streets. So yeah, that's me for the year.
Lovely, thank you, Josh. Anyone got any questions for Josh? I see the member right at the front first. Oh, hand shot there, Josh. I'm not going to see it on you.
You've already mentioned about the buses to Clifton. During peak times, especially for 9 o'clock or 1 o'clock lectures at Clifton, at times about 8:20 or 12:20 or 12:30 or whatever. The buses do, as you say, literally just go straight past some stops just after Tring Bridge. Why exactly is that, and what exactly are you doing to try and make sure that all students can get to their lectures on time?
So this is the first time I've actually heard in this term of this happening to students. I did work with, as I said, all reps and course reps to push the number of buses in the mornings from 8 to 12, certainly at peak times. So it's for me to go back to NCT and see if we can push that even further, certainly with exams coming up and students wanting to be on campus in the library. So I'll work on that for you guys.
Second one was, yeah, just behind, and then we'll go.
Hello. You identified that black culture is becoming a developing problem, and you mentioned some methods of suggesting dealing with the subjects offence. But are there anything you want to put in forward for prevention of this new black culture that's developed and starting to become more of a problem?
So anything I want to put in place to prevent this?
Yeah, to prevent that it's going through this action.
So the biggest preventative measure that I feel is in relation to lab culture is kind of a culture shift. So every year we have new students coming in, they come in for Freshers Week, and we have freshers, we used to have freshers reps, we now have freshers crew to support those students. I feel like in order to change the culture of ladism, loosely defined because it's equal amongst men and women here on campus, that we educate the freshers crew this year, that we push out this training on ladism, and that we can, through the next 3 years, slowly change the culture around it. It's more a case of educating new students than having to turn around the cultures and the embedded sort of behaviours of the current students. So over 3 years, we should hopefully, with this new training that I'm going to be guiding for freshers through in relation to the next student community, it should be a slow but substantial culture shift away from labs and on campus.
I really like that response. Yeah, on the far side. Sorry, far side first, sorry. Okay, right, yeah, we'll go with the follow-up.
Sorry, I've just noticed a lot of the times the laddish culture has been coming from a lot of the societies, and I know you're not sports, but it comes from a lot of sports that have that hazing or initiation process that is quite severe, and I'm wondering if there's going to be anything done about that next year or in the future in general.
So we've worked with, certainly I worked with the VP Sport who's sat just in front of you on this initiations policy. We do have an initiations policy here at Trent. It's kind of something that we put in place to stop any bad hazing. Parts of those tenets include that students at the end of the day have a choice, they can't afford to do anything. We kind of realised that what is loosely called initiations, that has many different names, are really good sometimes at bonding teammates. Certainly there was a part of lab culture, not just about sexual consent, about over-sexualisation, excessive drinking. There was also the part where it's about loyalty, about teamwork, about being part of something. And we really want, one of the big things that I'm expressing in the lab culture report is that we want to maintain this sense of teamwork, this sense of loyalty, while stamping down on the bad aspects. In terms of initiations, we have got a policy which was, I think, was ratified at the last thing around that. So I guess it's, I can't remember the specifics of the post, but the VP Sport may be able to add something.
Yeah, so the initiation policy, which we're also mandated to do by Box, to enable us actually be affiliated by that as well. We reviewed that this year, and the idea of the initiations ceremony is to try and obviously keep to have the idea of it completely abolished. The definition of initiation ceremony is a rite of passage to actually be able to join your sports club or society by doing this sense of a number of things that may be demeaning or could potentially make people feel unsafe. So the idea for ours in place is to do a welcome social where people are able to take part in the team building exercises. If they don't wish to take part, then that's completely fine. None of which can involve anything involving alcohol or drinking foodstuffs or anything that it seems humiliating or anything like that. So I think it's just around educating social secretaries and the other committee members and just ensuring that people are aware of that and trying to make them as welcome as possible.
Cool. And all sports teams have to report to Paddy before the beauty sport before they do it as well, just as an addition. Yeah, right there, and then we'll take one more. There's a question at the back. Was there any on this far side as well? Sorry. No? Cool.
I had a point and a question, if I I'm taking over NTSU Variety, so and we were wanting to do some sort of self-defense sort of stuff in the community anyway. So I'd love to work with you on the self-defense aspect if we could. So yeah, contact me now. So, and then the question, it was with the housing fair. I know you had Unipol commit to being there and not opening up their housing contracts till after that. But I noticed as a freshman that a lot of private people that have 2 or 3 houses themselves did it way before that. So we did wait, and then when it came to it, we did find there was a lot less options about for housing. And I was wondering if there was a possibility of moving housing there earlier, like before the Christmas break. But I don't know if anyone else found that an issue.
So the reason that we had the housing fair in the same way that we did in the time period that we did is because we identified that several estate agents, letting agents, were kind of taking advantage of students in October, November time, getting them to sign up to houses much earlier when they've only just met with people that they think they want to live with. Sometimes that can change a lot later down the line. So the reason we have this, we work with a lot of people around the city who say, well, we want to extend the minimum let period to January time. This is kind of a culture shift. In the same way you have a lapse of culture shift, we want to extend this to a January period to give students time to kind of get some space at university to not be rushed into decisions which we have evidence or does happen to students, so they're not pushed into housing by estate agents. And the people that we had at housing fair, we ourselves have ratified them and made sure that they were following that tenant. And one big point that I kind of want to address in regards to housing is that, everyone actually, is that there are more beds in the city than there are students. So you'll never ever be short of housing. There are some letting agents and estate agents who might tell you something different, but that is not the case. So don't be pressured into housing. There is always housing for everyone. There is good quality housing. I found some myself in May last year. So
cool. Happy? Okay, final question. Josh has been up there one. It's not right. So just quickly following up the point just made, I think you said you were some karate players. There's a few different sports sides in the representation of Thai boxing, potentially in the Jiu-Jitsu society. I know people involved in push for that. In regards to the self-defense fighters, how exactly do you intend to implement those at this? Do I call existing societies and sports clubs something you've really considered? How exactly do you intend to implement the potential self-defense fighters you're looking at running then? Was working with potential existing sports clubs or societies something you consider?
So I'm open to ideas around self-defense. All of the officers are. I'll be working with the new community in her handover to tell her about self-defense class. I think it's something that she has got on her agenda as well. Initial reports suggest that I'm looking at something called fast self-defense. I'm not kind of set in that way. I'm open to all sorts of ideas, but the initial report was fast self-defense, which is based around adrenaline. I think it's fast adrenaline, stress training. I think that's what it stands for. Which kind of helps any given situation. It has 3 tenets. That you create a boundary yourself by walking away. The second boundary, that you create a verbal boundary, stop, I want you away from me in a very clear and concise point, mirrored with body language. And the third point is actual physical contact based around attacking weak points around the body, all based on adrenaline. So as you would know, humans are at their strongest when they have adrenaline coursing through, so ways to access that adrenaline in the area environment to
Okay, so cheers, Josh. That answers the question. Couple of seats out, yeah, everyone. Right, lovely, thank you, Josh. Next up, Paddy. Sorry, Lizzie, I don't know why you like that. Yeah. So we've got only a couple more slides now, if anyone's thinking of leaving, just so you know. But it's equally as important. Paddy, that's a quick.
Yeah, I'll try and whiz through as quickly as possible. So, the first point towards the end of last year and the start of this year, been working on my relationship with NTSU Sport and my own role as VP Sport. So, through working with them, I've made subtle changes to my role that made it more around representing students and actually making changes to students on a strategic level. One of my manifesto points was to make committee training more interactive and effective, and working with NTSU Sport, we put a committee training into a weekend conference, of which committee members had to attend one day, and they went through all the training sessions necessary. Another one of my manifesto points was to lobby NTSU Sport to provide good value for money membership. They were looking at increasing the membership price already, as it hadn't gone up for the last 5 years, and I was using focus groups to discuss the current membership structure and how they might want to change that for next year. And the idea of splitting sports club membership with the gym membership was an option that students had decided they wanted to go to. And this also enables the gym membership to come into direct debit as well, so you can pay monthly, which is no joining fee and no contract, which is looking at about £8 a month for off-peak membership. And then also I've been working with NTSU Sport with regards to Bucks Top 10 strategy, so ensuring that non-Bucks clubs are negatively affected, and also that students are involved in where they want this Top 10 strategy to go in place and the impact that this might have. NTSU Sport Management team presented this strategy to the university executive team, and they got some really good feedback and got approved in principle. And so it's safe to say that sport is going to be improving a lot over the next few years of training. With varsity, we're currently now at 12-8 in the series, which means we've lost a series, but it isn't all a defeat. Attendances for the events are consistently successful, and there's been overall improvements of the series as a whole. The 10-day series has certainly been a success overall from hearing students' feedback from it overall. Looking at next year's series, the term and exam dates fit in a lot better with keeping the structure the same. So the idea is from going from a Friday to bank holiday Monday, which means it can be 2 weekends, sit in potentially more sports and on bigger platforms as well. And then with sports ball, which happened on Friday, I've been negotiating a cold call to ensure sports ball is good value for money, and it's much cheaper than last year, and also included wine on the table this year, which was deemed important by student feedback last year, and we sold out as a result. The SE Sports Exec have been really great this year with helping organise that, and it's really good value overall.
Paddy, any questions for Paddy? See a little bit back.
The gym hours have been extended from, or closing times have been from 10 to 10:30, but last year we had a big idea put through to extend that closing hours even more, but that hasn't happened yet. Is there any plans to do that?
There was one of the things that I was through meeting with the sports organiser and the sport management team, and was proposing this change, and the cost implications of this for facility managers and members of staff was so much higher that they'd have to increase the membership fee. So putting that back to sports exec, it was something we decided that just wouldn't be financially viable, as the price of gym membership would be so much more expensive. It's something that definitely my successor can take on and keep pushing, as they are looking at implementing turnstiles and things in the city gym as well. So that could potentially alleviate some staffing costs to make it potentially cheaper to open hours.
Happy?
Cool. Any more questions from Paddy? See the member at the back?
Next year, am I going to have to pay £100 a year just to use the primary?
No, so to access the primary law, you could pay £8 or £8 per month, or you could just join the primary club, the mountaineering club, sorry, and pay that subscription and club membership. Yes, so the idea this year is that it's separated. It's still kind of in the very final stages as to how to incorporate the sports club membership. But the initial proposed price is £45 to join mountaineering. So if you're not wanting to use the gym, you just join the £45 and use time and watch if you want to. Yeah, exactly. So now you won't have to be Okay. Answer your question.
No more burning questions from Paddy? No, lovely, thank you Paddy. Lizzie, final one. Then the liaisons quickly. See them sat there, right? You don't. Tom wants the question, you don't. Lizzie, as quickly as you can. Sorry.
Okay, so this year, sort of society, it's been a really great year in terms of society. We've had a lot of change. We updated the code of practice, which is the governing document for all societies here at NTSU, and made it more student friendly. It reflects growing nature, and it makes some changes that were well overdue. We've also, within this document, created policy papers. So beforehand, the BP activities made a decision on things like how finance is given out, training, health and safety. We want to create policies and society didn't have a say. We've updated that, so now everything in terms of policy papers gets voted on by the society and assembly, so they actually have final say in everything to do with how they are governed. So hopefully that will get voted through this Wednesday, fingers crossed, of course, helping out. And also with societies, we have seen them really utilising the student union building. We've seen loads of old events come back to the student union building, but we've also seen loads of new ones. Again, from sports, we're going to issue one for it recently for a new event that they've on that drew in other universities from across the country to our venue. We've also seen smaller societies utilising other areas of the union. They've been putting training events on, they've been holding film sessions, they've been putting community meetings on. We've seen loads of student groups really interacting with us and the student union itself. Ongoing for my sort of work over the next few months is creating a better relationship with Outgoing, who are a city rates provider for societies. There's been bad feedback from them over the past few months, so I really want to work with them to make sure they are giving you guys the best value for money, but also looking after your welfare too. RAD has had a difficult year, but it's also seen some really great change. We've seen lots of you guys get into the spirit and really work hard to help out Guide Dogs, which is our chosen charity. As Marcus said earlier, we've raised around £11,500 for them so far, with a few more events to come. But also in terms of RAG, we've seen loads of student groups really get involved. In RAG Week itself, we had 3 different student groups part of events, and that week we raised over £4,000. So you guys are making a really big change. But just in terms of child reach, all the participants who take part in international volunteering, they recently raised £14,000 just between the individuals who go on the challenges. So I'm really, really happy that people get involved fundraising and we hope that continues next year too.
Any questions for Lizzie? Anything to do with societies or raising and giving, so raising money for a public charity? Oh? Yeah, fair enough, you can proceed. Well, don't leave, but don't, yeah. Okay, the final thing we're going to do is have our 3 campus liaison officers quickly pop up, give one little mention of their guys. We have less than 5 minutes left. Pub Sports.
We cannot continue now. We're in chorus.
Okay, campus liaisons, you want to go up? Okay, they're going to give their main point from their role as campus liaison officer first, and then there's an opportunity to ask questions as well. Okay, so who wants to go first? Brief to the case. Sorry, Tom.
So yeah, each year I put out a survey for one of my main points, which is currently out there. I just need to collect the data and analyse it, and then I've helped some of the other exec members with what they've done. So I've helped with the Don't Let Get campaign. I've tried to help run that business. Yeah, that's fine.
Good work. Nice and quick, guys. Off. Right, ladies.
At the start of the year, I had a few meetings with Julia Davies to set up a student management rack for students in 3 lectures. This was completed over Christmas. Likewise with Tom, I also helped with the full family sec, creating and implementing a 24-hour library, helping up with the Light Up Braggness campaign, which was to get street lights from Braggness down to Southwold, which will hopefully be completed under Kai Roberts as next year's Braggness liaison officer.
Often quicker.
Great. Also, our cafeteria redevelopment this summer, helping out this year to be back. Brilliant.
Alex, sit here.
Really quick. So this year I did something right. Joshua was nice to help staff again to the community about it, and I have done some other stuff which I can't remember right now, but that's it.
Unless there's any burning questions, and you can ask later. Okay, do we all? Okay, thank you, liaisons. If everyone wants to accept our reports as they stand, you can all raise your little cards now. Yeah, I'll take that as accepted. Thank you so much, guys. You're so good. I'm literally going to be like 2.5 minutes. Thank you. You can put them down. The penultimate point is to tell you about the updates to the DBD, and you again have to accept these. They are simple changes that you've already made last year. You already voted to pass these changes, and now we've actually just gone ahead and made those changes. So what you're voting on here is the fact that we've done it. You trust that I've made changes that are up on that screen. If everyone is happy, then trust me, even though I've only got 2 months left and I can cause them and stuff like that. Yeah, wicked, everyone accepts them, wicked. If anyone's got any notices or statements, now is the time that you can get up and say them. For anyone that is desperate to go, I'll look this way, and you can maybe see how. But if anyone's got any statements, have we had any statements submitted? No, we haven't. Wicked. So, thank you so much for attending the annual meeting or the final union meeting of the year. The next one of these, you will see Tim sat here talking to you guys about what's going on for the next year. This is just a final opportunity for me to say thank you so much to you guys for allowing me to be your friends this year. And if you have anything that you want to change still, you can still go to www.trenchland.org/the student voice to submit your